Hey guys, so you're looking at an abandoned section of railbed of the former Louisville and Nashville Railroad line here in southern Illinois. So I'm walking on this roadbed here, just checking it out, looking around, seeing if there's anything interesting to spot. This was the former L&N St. Louis division that ran from Evansville, Indiana to East St. Louis. I believe it was Cone Yard in East St. Louis where this line terminated to the west. It actually was, that yard was in close proximity to the B&O yard in East St. Louis. So this line was pulled up in the fall of 1993. It was, I believe it was downgraded as a through route in late 1989. So there were regular through trains through here on the old L&N. This, by the way, is just a few miles east of Mascoutah. So the direction I'm walking in is west towards Mascoutah. So the line was downgraded as a through route in late 1989 and stayed intact for local trains to Belleville from Evansville until 1993, and then was abandoned the following year. Prior to this section being abandoned, the segment from Swansea into East St. Louis was pulled up in 1990, I believe. I might be wrong on the year. And then this section stayed intact for a few more years for local trains and eventually was pulled up. You see there's still some traces that this was a rail bed. There's still some ballast down here in the ground. Let's continue to walk along here. You see this is out in the middle of flat open field, so this rail bed really sticks out as you're driving past it. Some more ballast. This ballast, it's crazy to think that it's been laying here for over 30 years since this was pulled up in the fall of '93. Quite a bit of ballast still remaining here. See it up close. No remnants of anything else, really. Haven't seen any spikes, plates, pieces of ties, anything like that. There are some sections of this line in east of here, I believe, where you can see there is still some material and debris laying around. Not too much here other than a lot of ballast. It's crazy that all of this wasn't removed by CSX at the time. CSX bought the line, acquired L&N in the late 80s, and then took over this segment. Here's some material here. Again, just a lot of ballast out here. Again, this is looking west. Pretty easy to walk since it's really all flat. It's not too muddy. This was a busy through route in its day. A lot of trains went through this line. President trains, funeral trains back on the old L&N. When this line was downgraded as a through route in 1990, the trains from this route were rerouted to the B&O to the north of here CSX Illinois sub. I've done a video on that line as well. Looked at the line in Shattuck, and then also a couple of the depots up there in Carlisle and Breeze. So when this train, or I'm sorry, when this line lost its through trains, those were rerouted onto the B&O. See an old barn up there on the hill. Most of this right of way nearby here is gone. Just behind me going to the east on the other side of the road, there's no trace of it in the field any longer. But it is still intact here, very much visible and can be walked on and explored. Again, there's not really much to look at, but it's interesting anyway. It's a cool piece of railroad history that still exists out here in the middle of the rural countryside here in southern Illinois. But once thriving major railroad. Think of all the trains that passed through on this line in its day. And here we go. We have a spike. There it is. So there's still some spikes laying out here. Might be the odd piece of tie remnants laying out here too in some spots. Some of them might be covered in the brush, in the mud. Just keep walking west here. Again, this is looking north, and this is looking south. There are some pictures on the internet on, I believe it's the Southern Illinois Railroads group and also the Abandoned Rails group on Facebook of the rail removal train that came through here in 1993. That's really the only pictures that I'm aware of that exists digitally online of any trains on this section, at least right around the Mascoutah area. There are some images further west over in Belleville and Swansea area, but rail removal train was photographed by Rich Jacobson is his name. So if you happen to be on Abandoned Rails group on Facebook, you look him up, you'll see some of those images he shared of the rail removal train that came through here in fall of '93. A lot of ballast remains. Slightly further to the west, there's some code line poles here and there that are still standing over by Mascoutah. Actually, there's none out here. They've all been taken down, of course, years ago, but there are a few here and there that you'll find that are still standing, mostly in the trees. And actually, there's, I believe, between Mascoutah and the Rentschler area, there are two railroad trestles, the bridges that go over Silver Creek, that are still intact. You can see them from Google Earth. They're not accessible though because they're pretty far back in the woods, but those bridges are still intact. And there are some bridges intact over the Kaskaskia River east of here. So this line is still in operation from Okawville to the east. It's the Evansville and Western Railroad short line. Took over the operation from CSX in the mid-2000s. and they are now a thriving short line. But this section did not get to remain intact. From what I understand, originally the plan for CSX was to abandon this line from East St. Louis all the way to, I believe, Mount Vernon, possibly Woodlawn, Illinois. But farmers fought that abandonment successfully and won, and the line remained in service for the grain elevators from Okawville to the east. There's some big grain elevators out that way that Evansville and Western serves. But this section was not kept intact. Just trying to film anything we see interesting along this section here. Seen some spikes, no tie plates, mostly just a lot of ballast. Big pile of ballast here. And if we turn around, that's looking east. There's also a section of this rail bed that is accessible in Mascoutah. The line ran through the southern end of town over there, again just a few miles west of where I'm at right now. And there is still ballast there. There's also some signal masts that are still standing. At least the bases, not the masts themselves. The masts are gone, but the bases for the signal masts are there, I should say. And the right-of-way actually was paved over there in Mascoutah. There's a street there now on top of where the right-of-way was, and it's called L&N Avenue. All the ballast. Yeah, it's crazy to think that this has been gone for going on 32 years. There's just a ton of ballast still here. Oh, here we go. Here's a tie plate. Look at that. It's really cool. There's still some remnants out here yet. It's another tie plate. Right there. It's a pretty long distance I've walked now. It's pretty muddy out here. You can see there's not much further to go, and you hit a tree line further up. It's probably a little hard to see, but it's, see if I can zoom in. See further up. Not sure if there is a creek further up there, but I'm not sure if there's a bridge that's still intact over that creek up there or not. It's pretty far to walk, and you wouldn't be able to get to it anyway because of the brush and all the trees. Well, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this look. Thanks for going on this little exploration hike with me here. Again, this is the abandoned roadbed of the L&N Railroad, famous Louisville and Nashville Railroad. All right, well, I'm going to walk back. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you found it interesting and informative if you're into railroad history like I am. I always like trying to explore abandoned railroad lines around southern Illinois. This state is rich in railroad history, and there's There's so many railroad lines that used to come through this part of the state, the southern end of the state. Many of them don't exist anymore, of course. So anytime there's something interesting to look at, especially where you can easily access it or it's explorable on foot, I always try to document it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for coming along with me on this little exploration, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.